Hey there students, it's Mr. Mikasa again, and we are back with another digital lesson. In this video, I'm going to show you guys how to use Google Drive, at the same time how to navigate Google Drive, how to organize your work within Google Drive, and also how to do some really basic formatting with Google Docs. Regardless of what class you have for me, whether you're in my 6th grade social studies class, my 7th grade social studies class, or my 6th grade computers class, this little rundown on how to use Google Drive as well as Google Docs is really going to help you out, especially not just in my class, but pretty much all of your classes as well. So as you can see here, we're back here on my laptop again. I have another screen recording going on here. We got the little blue cyclone of our school mascot over here. So what we're going to do is teach you guys how to log into Google Drive. So first thing you do, of course, is open up your web browser. So whatever web browser you choose to, go to Google. So as you can see up here, I got the Google website located here. Now, in order to get to Google Drive, what you'll need to do is access your apps. Now, if you look up here in the top, you have Gmail, Images, and you have like this little waffle icon is what they call it. When you click on that, it's going to bring up all of your different Google applications. So you see we've got Gmail, we have your account information, Docs, Sheets, Slides, all these different kind of applications which are absolutely free for you to use. In this case, we're going to work on Google Drive. So if you go ahead and click here on Google Drive real quick, it's going to open up. And it's going to take you to your drive. And your drive will look something like this, very, very similar to this, all right? And this is how you guys get logged into Google Drive. Now, the most common question I get for kids who never used Google Drive before is, all right, Mr. Acosta, what is Google Drive? What Google Drive is a cloud-based application. Now, what does that mean? That means that all of your information that you put on here, all the files, all the images, all the information that you put on Google Drive is stored wirelessly. That's what we mean by a cloud system. What ends up happening is that servers within Google itself actually has dedicated memory space in order to store all your files. So for example, this is my example of what my Google Drive would look like. This is where I could put files and documents and all kinds of different things in order to share my materials with other people. It's a really good collaboration tool. You can use it to collaborate with all kinds of different people within your class, within your teacher. A lot of your teachers are using this application for your Schoology, so this is a really great system. So now that we've shown you guys how to get into Google Drive, how to use it, the next big step, of course, is how to navigate Google Drive. And the way you navigate through this program is right here in the left-hand column here. The left-hand column is where most of your different functions in order to navigate the application comes from. So you can see right now I'm clicking to My Drive, and My Drive is basically showing me the laundry list of different applications and different files and stuff that's been shared with me over the years. Alright, so it's kind of bare right now because I've done this on purpose, so that way it looks like this. Alright, the next button you want to use, of course, with is things like Recent. If you were to click on this little Recent icon, it shows you all the different files that were shared with you on Google Drive recently. If you have this little star button, which means that if you want to have something important, like for example this one here, you can click on that and it gives you an example of what some important documents you might have started earlier. You have your trash file where you, of course, if you accidentally delete something or if you throw something away but realize you need it later, you can bring it back out again. And of course, you have your Share with Me and Priority. Now, the one button that's probably going to do the most is probably this My Drive because it shows you all your own personal files. And the other button is probably going to be really important for you is this little New button. When you click on this New button, it gives you the ability to create folders in Google Drive. It allows you to upload your files onto Google Drive as well. At the same time, you can also access the various the different applications that's available through Google Drive as well. So this is step one of the video, ladies and gentlemen, that shows you how to get logged into Google Drive. At the same time, it also shows you how to use how to navigate the application. So we're going to move on to step number 2 now, which is going to show you guys how to use Google Docs on Google Drive. Alright, you guys, we're back for the second half of this lesson, this virtual lesson real quick, and the second lesson is going to show you guys how to use Google Documents. And the reason why we're going to show you guys how to use that program is because a lot of your instructors are going to require you to complete things on Google Docs and to, of course, submit it onto Schoology. So how do you access Google Documents? It's very, very simple. What we need to do is go over here to this top left-hand corner where this little plus button is located at where it says New. We click on that, and just like I showed you guys last time, it gives you a list of all the different applications you need to use. In this case, we're going to use Google Documents. So we click on that, and it's going to bring up a new tab, and it's going to show us a brand new blank document for Google Documents. Google Documents is what's called a word processing program, which means that, of course, it's used for one thing only, and that is for typing. Alright, that's how it basically works. So every single time you use Google Documents for your instructors who want you to use this program in order to type up information or to turn in assignments, this is the application they're talking about. Now, if you've never used Google Documents before, it could be kind of intimidating because of all the different features and things that exist on here that could be kind of frightening for you, okay? What I want to let you know right now is not to worry about it too much because Google Documents is actually very, very simple to use, and we're going to show you guys exactly how to do various things within it. Now, whenever you open a Google document, the very first thing you want to do, of course, is you're going to be tempted to start working on your assignment right off the bat. But don't do that yet, okay? There's a couple of things you need to do before you even start working on your guys' assignment that's really going to help you out in the long run. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is look up here in the upper left-hand corner. If you notice in the upper left-hand corner, there's this thing that says Untitled Document, okay? That is the default name for this file. And by default name that is the name that the program automatically gives your file if you don't name it yourself. So if you were to keep on typing and working on this item and you were to close it out without changing this at all, the document would be known as Untitled Document, is what the name of it would be. So if you try to look for this assignment, and if you look through your Google Drive and you have 15 untitled document files and you don't know which one is which, that's why. It's because this is the file name hasn't been changed, all right? So the very first thing you want to do, of course, is to change the file name. So we're going to highlight that, and we're going to start typing what we're going to call it. In this case, we're just going to call it Unit 1 Homework. We'll just call it like that for that example. And just click off at the main side. So now the file actually has a name. And in fact, if you go back into your Google Drive, you can see right here that your Unit 1 homework that we just created showed up inside your Google Drive. So that way it's easier to find. Otherwise, if you left an untitled document, you could have 15, 16, 20 untitled documents, okay, you guys? So make sure you give your file a name first, because you wouldn't believe how many times I looked at kids' Google Drives and found like 100 different untitled documents and they couldn't find their work. This would be very, very important for you guys to survive that, okay? So that's step one you need to work on, is to give your product a file name. Now the next thing you want to do, of course, before you even start typing anything else, so I'm just going to get rid of that real quick. First thing you want to do, of course, is to look at any formatting requirements that your instructor might require. Formatting requirements are things like the size and type of font that they want you to use, whether they want you to have your name, date, and title in the upper right-hand corner or not, whether they want your title in the center, or whatever requirement for formatting that your teacher might want to have. Now, in order to do those formatting requirements, you should use these buttons here. This row here is what you call your formatting buttons, okay, you guys? You click on this and it basically helps you to choose the kind of font you want. So let's pretend that your teacher wants you to work on a document that's in size 12 Times Roman font. For me, for example, that's the font I like to use for all my documents because everything's standard. It's a really good font to use. It's a good size, that way you don't get eye strain. So it's really good for students to use. So in this example, let's pretend that you need to do size 12 Times Roman font. So all you need to do is go to your font type, you click on this little drop down arrow, and it brings up all the different fonts that this program has available. So you see you got this really cool Pacifico looking one, you got this robotic looking one. The one we're going to use in this case is Times Roman, so we'll click on that. What that means now is that every single time I type up anything, it's going to come up in the size 12 Times Roman font. Times Roman font. Now we got to change the size real quick. So if you notice right next to the font type, there's a number here that says font size. The size we want is 12, but you can make your font any kind of size that you want, really. So if I was to click on 12, that's what the size of the letter I would look like in Times Roman font size 12. If I was to select 96, for example, and press I, bam, you can see how much big of a difference it is between the two, okay? So whenever your professor or your instructors want you to adjust on font types or font sizes, this is what they want you to work on. These are the things that we're talking about. In this case, we're going to use size 12 Times Roman font. Now, most of the time, whenever you turn an assignment, your teacher's going to want you to put your name, date, and hour in the upper right-hand corner of the assignment. That's usually how most teachers at Skyview want their kids to turn in their assignments. Now, there's a couple ways you can do that. Most common way I see is that most kids will type their names like this. So I'm going to put my name here. And what they do is they push the space bar like this to put to the right-hand side. Okay, don't do that. All right, you're going to look really foolish looking like that, and we're going to make fun of you for pressing the button like that multiple times, so don't do that, okay? The button you want to use is this one over here. You have this alignment tool button. If you click on this, it gives you several options. You have the left-hand alignment, which means that all of your text shows up on the left. You have the center alignment, which means that all of your text shows up in the center of your paper. So for example, if I was to do date, let's say like June 76th, 2134, all right, whatever. So you can see there it all shows up right there in the middle. Or you have the right alignment, which aligns everything on the right-hand side. This is how you put your name, date, and hour on the upper right-hand side. So I'll just put down 13th hour real quick, and that's exactly how you do it, okay? So once again, use this align button. Press the left align to align everything to the left. Press the center align to align everything in the center. And the right align to put everything in the right. That's how you guys do it. Name, date, hour, upper right hand corner. Now, a lot of your professors or your instructors will require you to put a title on your document, okay? And usually they want that in the center. So all you need to do in this case is just hit enter a couple times so that way you have a separate line of text. You go back to your alignment button, hit the center align tool, and give your document a name. The title, like that. So you can see there, name, date, and hour, Unit 1 homework. Now, of course, we need to start working on our homework, so the best way to do that is to press the Enter key twice so that we have double space. Go back to our left alignment button, and now we are proceeding ready to start typing up our homework. This is my homework assignment, for example, qualified period. All right, so this is an example of how Google Docs is formatting and how you can use it to help quickly format your documents and how you can submit things. All right, now the last thing we want to do, of course, is talk about spell checking, because sometimes when you guys are typing up your stuff, you have a lot of spelling errors. So let's purposely misspell a word. I don't know, let's say shovel. Let's say we're trying to spell the word shovel, but we forget the H, right? So it makes us weird when we're looking at word. What you can do is then go to Tools and click on your Spelling and Grammar. Click Spelling and Grammar check, and it's going to go through all of your stuff. Oh, looks like all the things look good. It's going to go through all your different things and make sure you have any spelling grammatical errors. Maybe because I think this is a name, that's why. But if this one was to be misspelled, little red squiggly lines would show up, and of course you could just change it real fast and then, make the correct spelling for you guys' words. So that's another little quick tool you could use as well, is for spelling and grammar. All right, you guys. So this is a pretty quick and fast digital lesson to show you guys how to use Google Drive, how to navigate it, as well as how to use Google Documents in order to help create your guys' work. And as always, of course, as you look here, it's inside your Google Drive automatically. So once you're done with this, you can just close this out if you're done. And of course, you can then take this and submit it on Schoology to submit it to your teachers' drop boxes. All right, so that's how you guys do it for this one. So that's going to wrap up for this lesson, you guys. As always, if you have any questions or concerns, do not hesitate to email me for questions or to go into the little lesson and type in the discussion box any questions that you might have, all right? So that concludes this lesson. We will catch you guys on the next one.